How many people here are engineers? Anyone? Yeah, there's a few of you, right? You're going to struggle with this activity. Realistically, we want your story, not your actual model. Your model is a way for you to tell your story.
The question I would ask is, why wouldn't you teach in many respects? I just love seeing students get things and just the energy from the room.
Andrew deeply cares about teaching, and you can see that in all the connections that he builds with his students as well as his colleagues.
He really wants the students to enjoy themselves. He really wants them to do well at uni, but then he really wants them to go out and change the world.
Most importantly, I think it's about being able to inspire students to want to study themselves. For success, they really need to be motivated to go and dig further into the material and to do all the work. And that's really how I see my job in essence, is I'm motivator in chief.
He really does draw questions out of the students. He makes it relevant, I guess, to our real lives, and he sort of shows us how we can apply what we're learning in the real world.
He's always looking to do things better, looking to do things smarter.
Andrew is known as the innovator of the department, so anytime anyone has a problem, they'll probably go knocking on his door.
I look for ways that I can use technology to make my life and my students' lives easier.
He's just innovated so much in the back end, the stuff that students don't even see, to make sure that a student experience is really good.
So for example, I used CrowdMark, which is a marking tool, to largely automate a lot of our marking stuff that we had to do for our students. If we're going to give student feedback on their work, we need to do it as soon as possible, because otherwise they've tended to have sort of already written it off in their mind if you give them their feedback 2-3 weeks after. So I've always tried to prioritize my students in my efficiencies, if you like. It's about making life better and easier for my students.
He'll plan things from a student's point of view, so he's very sympathetic, empathetic towards them. He thinks about the whole student experience, and it's not just what happens in class, but outside of class.
I try to touch base with my students who are struggling, as well as the others where I can, regularly, so that they know that somebody's got an eye on them at least. You know, somebody cares about their progress.
He's got massive classes of like 1,000 students in a group, right? So really, really high numbers, but his engagement is just so high. It's pretty incredible for someone teaching that kind of course.
It doesn't matter if I'm dealing with a class of 1,000 or if I'm dealing with a class of 10. I try to deal with them as individuals. That's hard in a class of 1,000, but you can use technology to identify people and sort of customize the messages that you send to them.
When you go into Andrew's class, he's very enthusiastic, he's very upbeat. He doesn't just sort of start it off by jumping straight into the content. He's always sort of asking, hey, how is everyone today? How's your weekend? It's just a really good vibe, I guess. The energy of the class is always really cool.
I can't remember who said it, but you go to work and do something you love, you never work a day in your life. And honestly, that's how I feel about teaching.